Xbox isn't the only one rethinking console exclusives. Yeah, honestly, I think console exclusives are. I don't even think they're really a good idea. I mean, think about it in the long run, right? If I make a game and I put it to only one console, doesn't that, if not, actually decrease the sales and money coming in? Like, why would I actually just put it to only Xbox or put it to only PS? What's the point of doing that? I don't really see what the point of I don't really get the point of making games exclusive. I know there's probably a point to do it, but I don't know that. And I don't know that, but if I did, it's probably not very good. It's probably not like a very valid reason to actually make a game exclusive. I'm gonna go ahead and look that up. Exclusive games are typically at the forefront of promotional efforts during gaming conferences such as E3 in order to help drive sales as hardware. Customers choosing between options may be swayed by the different range of games available on each. I don't know if I really agree with that. Like, if we look at statistics, does it actually do any? Does that actually help? You know what I mean? Does it actually help?
It's 2024 and games are more expensive than ever. Publishers are taking fewer risks and layoffs are rampant.
Yeah.
As the most front-facing of the big three gaming executives, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer sat down for an interview to lament the current state of the video game space. How does this industry get back to growth was the resounding question he left us with in a recent interview with Polygon. It's clear that console sales aren't seeing the growth that even leaders in this regard would like.
Okay.
PlayStation is porting games to PC via Steam, Xbox is expanding its release strategy to include Steam, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and it's becoming clear that there's seemingly a consensus between PlayStation and Xbox that the entire industry is going through a recalibration.
I really think it also causes like console wars. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I have this game and you don't. I'm better. We came out with the better game, which means we're better. You know what I mean? Play the console, play the game that you want, play the console, and on both consoles there's the same game, right? It only makes more sense. It only makes more sense or like literally just money-wise and logic-wise. Obviously, we have a console wars with PC or PS and Xbox. So we can stop that. We can stop thy console wars by just not putting exclusive games. It shouldn't exist.
Starting with console exclusives. The recalibration has been accelerated thanks to a massive wave of layoffs that has roiled the video game industry. We covered the impact those layoffs have on those who create games before, and as thousands of applications flood the inboxes of the few companies looking to hire, it's likely many of the displaced will move on to new industries in the future. The entire industry is resetting to the commercial reality, with some companies realizing they have overexpanded, become unfocused in their strategies, or become overstretched financially. Pierce Harding Rolls of Ampere Analytics tells IGN. By now, it's widely known that there are two primary culprits for the recent wave of layoffs. COVID is one, according to Michael Pachter of Wedbush Securities, and Dr. Serkan Toto of Kantan highlighted another reason this wave is hitting the industry. High interest rates, slowed down growth, inflation, and overall negative sentiment are clearly weighing on the game industry and gamers alike. As a result, Spencer says it's clear we'll be seeing a shift in the coming years away from console exclusives to mitigate the losses in revenue everyone has been reporting. The impact of the revenue needed to break even on $300 million budgets has had devastating consequences in the form of mass layoffs. Going forward, I believe the industry is not done yet seeing layoffs. We will see further bad news through 2024. The reply from Dr. Serkan Toto of Kantan Games is a concerning prediction that proves more true as the days pass in 2024. PlayStation, Xbox, and EA have drastically reduced their staff, making headlines at every major gaming publication. Embracer not only saw layoffs, but also started spinning out their recent acquisitions like Gearbox to new owners. And then Gearbox had layoffs. Well, Spencer is the latest to lament the negative impact the budgets and layoffs have on the entire games industry, highlighting a risk-averse publisher market, rising AAA game creation costs, and a flatlining console business. It's clear to him that things need to drastically change. PlayStation seems to agree, as they've slashed console sales predictions for 2024 from 25 million to 21 million, and highlighted plans to be more aggressive with PlayStation game releases.
So I really wonder why they let off a whole bunch of employees. I mean, the more employees, I think the better development and the faster development you get, no? But at the same time, I guess, like I said in the last video, I think I've already covered this, where it's harder to come up with a final say on a decision, no?
On PC. All of this has an effect on the games industry as we know it, and more specifically, the console business. While PlayStation still champions the value of exclusive releases on its console, they've slowly but surely adopted a more aggressive PC release strategy as well. In a notable statement during Sony's Q3 earnings, PlayStation CEO Hiroki Totoki said, "In the past, as you all know, we wanted to popularize console, and the first-party title's main purpose was to make the console popular." He also adds, there is a synergy to it. So if you have strong first-party content, not only with our console, but also other platforms like computers, first-party content can be grown with multi-platforms, and that can help operating profit to improve.
Right.
So that is another one we want to proactively work on. But this isn't the first time PlayStation has brought up its shifting perspective on console exclusives. Head of PlayStation Studios, Herman Hulst, also discussed the importance of the PC in May of 2023.
PC has grown to become a substantial part of SAE's first-party business, extending the reach of our IP beyond the console to a broader audience of players.
Jim Ryan echoed those sentiments on the same call, saying,
in fact, already our PC business is a significant profit contributor.
Harding Rolls of Ampere Analytics dives in a bit
deeper. No, yeah, I think that if you release the game, especially onto PC, that is a big contributor to the growth of the game. Not just the growth of the game, actually pretty much every aspect of growth. So money growth, population growth, right? Knowing that, like, people actually getting into the game and playing, which could be population growth, right? So I think that releasing the game, especially on PC, is also a very good factor that you need to do when releasing not just an exclusive game, but any game. It needs to be on PC because it gets you more money, it gets you more growth. It gets you more growth in every aspect. That's because growth comes with a whole bunch of aspects. I could maybe right now I don't know a whole bunch of the aspects, but you could probably name yourself some or name some yourself. And I mean, two of the biggest, right, is population and money. That those would grow so much by just releasing a game on PC. But obviously, the game has to be a good game. Right, for you to release a game on multiple platforms, I think that you probably have a stable team with some foundation money that you can release the game on every platform, right? And I think with that, you'll get some population, you'll get some growth, and yeah, I mean.
Clearly, the macroeconomic backdrop will have contributed to companies looking to streamline their operations, cut their costs, reduce commercial risk, and cut investments. This is inevitable in the current climate, and it's relevant to all industries. He continues to cite wage inflation and increasing costs of game design as reasons many studios have started looking into the safest route forward, which will also mean a more risk-averse market for a few.
I think that's a big thing as well. I don't know why companies do it. Because of the cost, right? I think the maintenance part on a whole bunch of different consoles is going to be a lot of money and a lot of work and development, right? It could be a different way of fixing a bug on Steam than PS5 or Xbox One or Xbox X. You know what I mean? I think because they're different servers, right? So since they're all different, they come with different aspects of coding. I don't really know how it all works, but maybe you can assume so, but I don't really know personally, so
years. One big budget game getting canceled can lead to hundreds of layoffs, according to Pierce. All of these changes will reshape the industry and games we play for years to come. Gamers want more access in more places, and both Xbox and PlayStation are ready to appease that request to meet their ballooning budgets, albeit in different ways. For Xbox, it's releasing former console exclusives on rival hardware, while PlayStation is ramping up its PC porting business. That could mean fewer console exclusives as hardware sales forecasts are reduced, but more ways to play the games we love. While pure console exclusives still go some way towards driving console sales, more so for Nintendo than others, it has become clear that gamers now expect to be able to play games on a variety of devices, Daniel Ahmad, Nico's director of research and insights, tells us. Even in Japan, where the console has traditionally been dominant and 41% of gamers played a console game in the past year, only 14% of all gamers exclusively play on console, according to our 2023 survey of Japanese gamers. Players getting more access and more options for how to play is amazing news for customers. While porting to PC and mobile isn't a new strategy, it's happening at a much faster rate, and it will have a drastic impact on the console market and how we consume games in the future. Console platform holders have embraced a broader strategy over the past few years and will continue doing so with the aim of reaching gamers on non-console platforms, Ahmad tells IGN. And recent comments from Phil Spencer seem to indicate an incredibly aggressive approach in this respect. Rumors are swirling of an Xbox handheld that will be more open to services like Epic Games having a place on it, and hopefully services like Steam, a strategy that aims to tear down the walled garden approach the industry has used in the console business for years. Harding Rolls adds, all console players now have strategies in place to reach broader audiences with their services, games, and IP. Out of the three companies, Microsoft has been the quickest and most active in evolving its strategy, largely because it has had a more acute need to look for growth beyond its console business. Even Nintendo is branching away, albeit in a different way.
I think a lot of games lack the actual thought of they have a lot of the thought of money growth, but they don't have a lot of thought of population growth. I think that could be a big factor on why games aren't released on other platforms, right? They don't think about getting the population up, which then could get the money up. I think they think about a lot of aspects, but I think that maybe that's one that's just a low down on the spectrum, right? So
through theme parks and movies. Think of it this way. You don't need to own a Nintendo Switch to go to Universal Studios or watch the upcoming Legend of Zelda live-action movie. And to his point, Toto points out that console sales have remained flat for everyone. Looking back at the last several years, it is easy to see that the Xbox and PlayStation console audience is not growing. The data backs it up. No console, not even the highly successful Nintendo Switch, has managed to surpass the 160 million units the PS2 sold. In over 20 years, the closest was the Nintendo DS, which capped out at around 154 million units. Even the Nintendo Switch that everyone points at as the bar for success, which is currently gearing up for a successor, is currently sitting just shy of 140 million units sold. So how will this impact you? If you have poured a purported $300 million into developing Spider-Man 2, it makes sense to invest a comparably modest sum to port it over to the PC to address a bigger audience and drastically improve the bottom line.
That's exactly what I said. If you are able to put a lot of money into a game, take some of the money, it's not even like a lot. If you are able to spend a large sum of money, then you're able to spend another sum of money, not a large sum, but another sum of money to port it to another platform where you will 100% get a more engagement rate, more money, and a bigger population.
Toto says, a win for the customer, in my opinion. There are two main factors driving the expansion to PC and mobile, Ahmad elaborates. The first is the opportunity in terms of audience size and player spending, especially in Asian markets where these platforms are dominant. The second factor is that AAA game development budgets have continued to grow over the past decade, which pushed many publishers to increase the price of console games from $60 to $70. Free-to-play games also need a large and engaged audience to succeed over the long term, which may be limited by a capped console install base. Therefore, launching the games on PC or bringing first-party IP to mobile is a way to address these 2 points. Change can be scary for some, but take comfort in knowing that there's still a massive drive for spending on the console, which seems to indicate that console and hardware fans have nothing to worry about. A handheld strategy like the one Xbox is hinting at is a sound one according to Rolls. Hardware-wise, there's a lot of innovation in the console market in recent years, focused largely on the handheld sector. I'm expecting that to continue over the next few years.
Right.
And revenue-wise, there will always be a place for the console. Console represents around 1/3 of total global spend on video game software and services, which shows the opportunity for console platform holders when expanding to mobile and PC. In fact, the contrast is even more pronounced in Asia and MENA, where over 90% of player spending is generated on non-console platforms, Daniel Ahmad tells us. And Rolls backs him up. None of the companies can afford to exit the console market as a platform holder without significantly reducing their games revenue. So I expect them all to remain committed to the console market for years to come. There is a chance we will have Microsoft and Sony focusing a lot more on handheld and the cloud, especially after how the Steam Deck revealed there is high demand for high fidelity games on the go, Toto says. For today, however, one thing is clear. Change is coming. Change is here. More games in more places and a better value for the gamer is a huge win. Console exclusives may become less and less common, but if that means these companies are going to create more options for you, I am all for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. As long as the game, right, can make its profits, I think it should release it, right? So on other platforms, if the game, like I said before, can pour a lot of money into the game, it could pour another sum of money into releasing the game on other platforms where it can get a more engagement rate and a higher population. Take for example, like Helldivers, right? I think Helldivers is making a bitch ton of money, a whole bunch of money, but it's not on PS. It's on PC and Xbox, right? It's on PC and Xbox, but if you think about it, why wouldn't they release it on PS when they both released it on if they released it on PC and Xbox, why can't they release it on another platform that's going to insanely increase the sales, insanely increase the population, and insanely increase the money that's incoming towards them? Why wouldn't they do that? Why? And if I think more bigger companies, maybe smaller companies can contribute into it, but bigger companies that start doing that, start releasing on every platform, except maybe platforms where they literally can't, like Switch and mobile, but mostly the consoles and PC. If they start doing that, I think other companies are going to follow them, because with the bigger companies, I think smaller companies like to follow the bigger companies because those bigger companies have more people to make better decisions, right? Which then make the smaller companies stick harder, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is a good decision, right? This is a good thing that we need to do. So as long as it's like the chain, right? If one person moves, all the other people move. It's like a red light, car at a red light. Once the first person just goes, all the other cars are gonna go, right? So we just need to really think about it. But yeah, there's some positives and negatives to it, but I think it's mostly positives. I think it's mostly more opportunities to open up for not just the companies and the producers and developers, but the people that play the game. There's more opportunities for games and releases and DLCs and a player base, higher population of the game, which means there's for online games that'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. Imagine if R6 could allow PlayStation players and Xbox players to play together. Imagine that. Just imagine that. I don't know if they're doing it this season. I heard that they were doing some cross-platform thing. I don't really know what it's all about, but if that is a thing, then that's great. More sales, higher population, better games, and I think the overall player base is going to like the game more. And if people like the game more, I think there's a higher chance that those people are going to promote it to other people. Right? So it could increase the population. It could increase the player base. But hey, it is what it is, right? I'm not a CEO. What are you gonna do, right?